Well, it is 6:01, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We have Milton Aguilar here. He is our Membership Development Officer, and he is going to be sharing a little bit about what we can do as consumers, as individuals, as members to protect our personal information online, keep our identities safe. And then we have our VP of Risk Management, Sue. She's going to share a little bit about what the credit union does to keep your personal information safe, and then they're both here to answer any questions that you might have. So if you do have questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat box or use the Q&A function, and we will definitely get to them either during or at the end, All right, thanks. Milton, go ahead.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you for the introduction. And again, I would like to welcome everyone. This is actually, we just had this presentation a couple of weeks ago, and it is backed due to popular demand. So again, we want to thank you all for taking your time and joining us. As Carrie mentioned, preventing fraud and identity theft. This has been a very hot topic recently, especially us here at the credit union. We have been seeing an increased number of cases where our members are letting us know of suspicious things that have been happening to their accounts. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and dive in. So this presentation, again, it's pretty much we're going to go through five different pretty much five different topics, five different points, but it's all about what is identity theft, how does it happen, how do criminals use your information, how to protect yourself, and also what to do if you ever become a victim. So let's dive in. What is identity theft? So identity theft, again, it is the crime of using another person's personal information. It is the crime of using another person's personal information, credit history, or any other identifying characteristics in order to make purchases or borrow money without the person's permission. Just so you all know, the federal government has made identity theft actually a federal crime that can be punishable for up to 5 years in a federal prison. And the number of cases that we saw in 2020 was a little over 1.4 million cases that was reported. The FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, actually, they published a report that shows that the number has more than tripled since 2018, and the number of these cases are actually on the rise. So again, as we stated, it's definitely a very hot topic, and just nowadays the criminals are getting more and more advanced with their techniques and the ways that they're now coming up with with ways to steal your information. But again, one of the main reasons why we're doing this presentation is for that. We want to make sure that we provide you with the tools, all the resources that you have available that are that you have that will be providing to you during this presentation, and then we hope that that you take something away from this. And again, if you ever suspect of anything, we always recommend that you always give us a call here at the credit union. We'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions, any of your concerns. So with that being said, let's look into what are some of the ways of how your information can be stolen. The most popular one, the one that we see often, is through a computer crime. So in essence, this is when your data gets stolen via online activity. So we definitely see nowadays with technology, we have seen the number of cases and how the criminals are creating all these different approaches to steal your information. And one of the easiest way for them to do it is through online activity. So whether it is through an email scam, through creating fake websites, I mean, you name it. But it is very easy for them to access your information through the web. Also, another way of how you can fall a victim of fraud or identity theft, it's going to be through a personal betrayal. That could be a friend, a relative, an employee. Someone that might get a hold of your information. Also through document loss, you lose your checkbook, credit cards, or your mail gets intercepted. That's also another way how a criminal can get access to your information. And last but not least, we'll talk about also business leaks. This is also, I'm sure you all seen, whenever big companies, fall victims of data breaches. It's all over the news whenever it happens. But it's definitely another approach that the criminals are utilizing in order for them to get a hold into your personal data. So what happens once you're I'm sorry, how does it happen? Again, we were just talking about that in a previous slide, but again, very self-explanatory, right? So somebody somebody gets a hold of your mail, or your wallet gets stolen. That's this used to be the most common practice on how your information used to get stolen in the past. Dumpster dive also, just so you know, there are criminals that all they do is they just go through the dumpster and look for personal information such as insurance information, mortgage statements, you name it. They're just looking for anything that they can find in the dumpster that will have any of your personal information, and they can utilize that to find a way to steal your information. Also, if somebody breaks into your house or a business, that is, another way. And obviously, we were just discussing a little bit about email scams. That is, again, this is something that we have been seeing an increase recently with a lot of cases where people have fallen victim of email scams. And data breaches, as I mentioned before, I actually happened to be a victim of identity theft through a corporate data breach. I actually, I recall I was applying to work for a federal government some time ago, and I received a notification letting me know that my information had been part of the breach that happened with the Department of Homeland Security some time ago, and the criminals got a hold of my data. And unfortunately, I went through through a situation where it took me a little while to get out of it, but I finally did it. But again, as I was saying early, the criminals nowadays they're just getting more and more savvy, and they're just getting more and more creative. So, something to keep an eye out. Also, phishing and smishing. So these are two schemes that our criminals are using that has been on the rise. So I would like to spend a little more time into this last two bullet points that we just looked. So let's talk about phishing. So what is phishing? So phishing is a practice that online criminals use to phish for confidential information and passwords that they can find in the sea of the internet by just sending you an email. I want to show you guys a quick example here. If you look into this email here, just by doing a quick glance, it seems like it's a legitimate email. I mean, if you look on the top, at the bottom, it says that it's coming from Wells Fargo, and there is an alert in regards to your account, and they want you to, take a couple steps to, get so that you get access to your account. But if you look closely and you start looking, you're gonna start noticing there's a couple of red flags here that are going. That's gonna tell you that, you know what, maybe this is not legitimate. If you look closely, I'm going to highlight a couple of things here that for you to look for. But in this particular email, if you see on the top where where it's coming from, so it's coming from Wells Fargo. But if you notice, the S is missing. So there's something that will be your first red flag to look for. But if you look next to it and you look at the email address, and you notice that that email address is a little long. Normally Wells Fargo will not use an email address like that to reach out to their customers, and it's a very long one, and it just has a lot of funny things in front of it. And if you look at the end after .com and has that .co, that's just something that you might want to look closely and it just it will definitely be something where you'll be able to say, you know what, maybe this is not legitimate. But if you start looking into the body of the email, and then you're going to start noticing more red flags. So we highlighted multiple of red flags on these emails. As you can see, there will be a couple of misspelling errors. You can also see that there's a particular link that they provided on this email that they want you to access. But if you look closely to this email, you notice that the website that they want you to go to has nothing to do with Wells Fargo. So that alone, it would be something, to pretty much, be on the lookout for. And then also at the beginning of this website, if you see that on the address bar, it has HTTP and there's no S next to it. And just so you all know, most of the well-trusted, legitimate financial institutions or any companies in general, for whenever they created websites, they will always have the S next to it, or oftentimes you will also see a little lock that would be next to the HTTPS. So it's just a couple of things to look for, and obviously, what to do if you get an email like this to your inbox. Obviously, our advice is that do not click on any links. Do not open it if you don't obviously if you can't avoid it, just by deleting it, that would be the best resource that you can take. But if you want to be, just to be on the safe side, one of our recommendations for you to take is to actually contact the financial institution or the business where this email is coming from, and then use a number that you have, that you've used in the past to get a hold of the business or financial institution, or if you don't have that, you can always go online and do a search for the customer service number and give them a call, and I guarantee you that 9 out of 10, most likely that email will not be coming from them. But again, it's just something that to be mindful. But what if you actually didn't read careful and then you actually click on the link that they provided? Most likely it's going to take you to a bogus website where it's going to ask you to enter your credentials. And once you do that, it will just not take you anywhere, because that's it. And what happens now? The criminal now has access to your credentials. So if you get to that, if you get that far, again, our advice is that you contact the financial institution or the business that the email is coming from, and let them know what happened, explain the situation, and they can they can put an alert in your online banking, or even help you with changing your password, or even updating your username. But you definitely need to take action immediately if you have clicked on the link and then you have provided your credentials. So again, this email here, it definitely has a lot of red flags. But as I stated early, these criminals, I'm telling you, they're getting more and more creative. So it might not look like this one here, the one that you see that we're using as an example. It might be something that looks even more official. But Again, if it's asking you to, to do some certain steps for you to get your access to your account restored, we highly recommend that you contact that institution before you do anything. And one thing that I want to reassure everyone here is that here at the United States Senate Federal Credit Union, we will never send you an email and ask you to follow any of the steps through a funky link that you receive via email. Again, if that ever happens, our advice is that you give us a call, contact us at the contact center, or you can call, reach out a local branch, or if you're near a branch, we always invite you to come in, and obviously if it's during business hours, we'll invite you to come in and we can look into it in person. Now, with that, it takes us to the next big, this next tool, or not tool, it's just another another way of how criminals, are getting into, they're going to be trying ways to get into gather your personal information. And phishing, as I said, is through trying to get your information through an email. But smishing, it's actually very similar to the previous one, but this one will actually come in a form. I'm sorry, give me 1 second here. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, and
Yes, we can.
Carrie?
I can see you and hear you. Can you hear me?
I might have lost audio here.
I'll type, but we do hear you.
We can see you.
You can hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I think I lost audio on my end. My apologies about that. So Eddie, if for some reason you guys don't hear me, just give me a sign, okay? I think I might have lost audio on my end. My apologies about that. But again, as I was saying with this mission, so this is the practice that criminals are using. And in essence, what they're doing is they're sending you text messages pertaining to be from reputable companies. And this is something that we have been getting multiple calls here at the credit union, and with members letting us know that they've been receiving text messages saying that it's from the credit union, and they're asking them to do certain things that, one, we will never tell our members to do, such as providing your credentials, following a link that they sent you to your smartphone, or contacting a phone number that they provide on a text message. Again, if this ever happens to you, our advice is that similar to the phishing scam, we will ask you to give us a call, or call the financial institution or the business where the text message says to be coming from, and verify with them, because it's again, at least in our end here at the credit union, we will never send you any text messages asking you to provide any personal information via a link, or get information to you by calling a certain phone number that is not our main contact number here at the credit union. So again, be very, very careful, always be vigilant, because as I said it earlier, and I'll probably, you'll get tired of me saying this, but just the criminals nowadays, they're just, they will never get tired. They do this all day long, and if they send out about 1,000 text messages or emails, and if their goal is to get at least one person, so don't be the one person that falls for their scam. Now let's move on to the next subject here, and this is pretty much how do criminals use your information once they get a hold of your information? So, this is pretty simple. I mean, once they get a hold of your information, they're going to be started doing a bunch of things with your data. The most popular one, if you get a hold of your account, your debit card, credit card, they're just going to start buying merchandise. They're going to go ahead and start opening accounts, establishing services under your name, take out loans, obtain a passport, insurance, or ID, or even sell your information on the dark web. That's just some of the many things that a criminal can do once they have gotten a hold of your personal information. So this is going to be the most important thing here that we want to discuss with you on this webinar. And this is pretty much what to do, how you can go about protecting yourself, so how you can make it harder for these criminals to not get into your information. And if it does, we will give you all the resources here. But the one thing that we highly recommend, and that is to always keep track of your credit. The federal government has created a website, which is annualcreditreport.com. This is a website where you can actually obtain a copy of your credit report from the three companies, the three credit bureaus. So Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. They all can give you a copy of your credit report for free. You do not have to pay for that, and there's different ways on how you can obtain that. The easiest way is to do it online, but you can also send in a written request. That information it's on this presentation, in which we're going to be sharing and sending it to everyone at the end of the presentation. But again, we highly recommend that you always are keeping track of your of your credit and what's actually showing on your credit. And also, this is another tip that we actually provide to all of our members. In the event that you're going to be in the market of making any if you want to be in the market of obtaining a loan, we highly recommend that you review your credit report before you do anything, at least 6 months in advance. And then the reason why we say 6 months, it's because 6 months is going to be the sweet spot, because it's going to give you enough time for you to dispute anything that doesn't belong to you on your credit report. The other tip that we also like to provide when it comes to getting your credit report is that you break it down and throughout the year, right? So our advice is that you can get a copy from Experian early in the year. Then you can wait for around May to get your credit report from TransUnion, and then either in November, October, November, you go ahead and request that report from the last credit bureau. So that is definitely something that we highly recommend. And then again, that is also going to give you a good understanding as to what is actually shown on your credit. And if there's anything that doesn't look normal, then you have the time and you have the ability to go ahead and then start a dispute and get everything squared away. And I must say, because as I stated early, I have been a victim of identity theft myself, and I know that the process is lengthy, and oftentimes it's you hope that it gets fixed in a matter of weeks, but it doesn't. It does take some time. But the most important thing, is to catch it early, and then once you do, just gotta follow, go through the process. Now, once you go into the website, this is a quick snapshot on how the website looks. You'll be able to see a lot of helpful information also on this particular website. And I must say that here, what you're going to be obtaining again is going to be your credit report. That's going to be completely free. But if you need to get your credit score, that's something that you're going to have to pay for. It averages anywhere between $6 and $8 the different companies, they all have different prices, but again, it's just an average anywhere between $6 and $8 that you'll be paying if you want to take a look and see what your actual score is. Because again, that will not be listed on your credit report. So the credit report will only have everything that shows on your credit, all your history, but not the credit score. But if the score is something that you're looking for, I want to encourage everyone to take advantage of some of the resources that we provide here at the credit union, and that is actually you can get your FICO score with us that is provided to us from Experian, and this is completely free. So all you have to do is just go into our website, ussfcu.org / FICO. And it will take you into this website where you'll be able to see your FICO score for free. You can also do a score simulator. So in the event that, let's say you are looking to get a new loan, you can input that information into the simulator, and it's going to give you an idea as to, how your credit will be impacted. Also, if you close a credit card or close a loan, it will also tell you, what will happen, once you do that, or if you pay off a balance, or if you max it up. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. Highly encourage all of our members to take advantage of this service that we provide to you. And again, the most important thing here is that it is completely free. But not only you can get your FICO score here and then do your simulator, but you can also look at your credit history from Experian and take a look and see all of your payment history, all the debts that you have, the length of your credit, how much new credit you obtained recently, and just a whole picture of your credit score history will be all on this website. So I highly encourage everyone to take advantage of this service that we provide here. And then this would also, again, give you, another tool to protect yourself. This would also, have up-to-date information. So if there's anything that shows here that, let's say a loan or anything, you will be able to keep, see it on this website. So again, just another tool for you to protect yourself and always be, be on alert as to what's showing up on your credit. Another tip that we would like to, mention, and that is to protect all of your accounts by using strong passwords. And it is extremely important that you use a different password for every account that you have. I know nowadays, and I will include myself in this one because I do have multiple I do have multiple online accounts myself, and I always make sure that I use a different password for each account that I have. And the reason being is because if in the event the criminal gets access, is able to crack a password from one particular account, once they have that, they can easily go into all of the other accounts that I have. So let's not make it easy for them, make it hard. But with that, with creating passwords and making strong passwords for all of your accounts, we also encourage you to, protect all of your electronic devices as well too, such as your phone, your computer, your laptops, your iPads, smartwatches, anything where you can have any information, sensitive information that can be stored. We highly recommend that you are protecting those devices as well too, not just your online accounts, but also your, any devices that you have that will definitely, help you out down the road. And then another tip here that we like to mention is that, feel free to, instead of just using a normal password, go ahead and try a passphrase, something that again, it would be even more difficult for a criminal to try to crack. So we highly encourage that as well. This will definitely, again, it's going to be a tool that you can utilize to make it more, make it difficult, and just gives you a better, peace of mind when you are protecting yourself from all of this, all of these bad things that are out there. Another tool that you have that it's actually from us here at the credit union, and that is that we have multiple options on how you can actually protect yourself from your online banking account here at the credit union. One of them is the two-factor authentication. This is something that I highly recommend. The way it works is that, if you're accessing your online banking on a website, you will be asked more than just your password in order to get access to it. So this is where the two-factor authentication will kick in. So once you enter your password, you're going to get a message that you need to take an additional step in order for you to access your account. And that two-factor authentication, I'm sorry, will be used in a form of a text message or a phone call that you will be receiving to your personal phone or to your home landline, or even an office. You can add multiple numbers on your online banking profile that you can utilize for a two-factor authentication. So we highly encourage you that you turn that feature on for your online banking. Again, it's just if a criminal is able to crack into your password, they are not going to get in just by having your password. They're also going to need another step. So again, the more the merrier. So just it's better to be safe than sorry. And obviously with that, we highly encourage you to never share any of your credentials. Make sure that you also don't have anything. You don't have your password written down in a place that can be accessible, easily accessible by others. So we highly recommend that you protect yourself. Sort of like a clean desk policy, where anything that you have in your desk, especially if you have any passwords, because that's the other thing that I also wanted to mention. With that, we understand that nowadays we have a lot of accounts, and then there's a lot of passwords that we need to keep track of, and so sometimes it can be hard keeping track of a lot of different passwords. So I know a lot of our members, will use a notepad or something to write and keep their passwords in one place. But if you do that, again, our advice is that you make sure that it's in a secure place that only you have access to, and then nobody else can get a hold of that. But with that being said, another feature that you can take advantage with us here at the credit union is that use our account alerts feature. You can always set up all types of alerts on your accounts, and that can be from spending limits to just any debit that comes into your account. You will be able to receive an alert letting you know there's a transaction that is coming in, and you will be alerted to verify it and make sure that it's you, the one that is doing that transaction. So it's definitely, again, something that we highly encourage. And with that, we also provide, we have what we call card controls. And this is another feature that we have through our online banking that gives you full access to your debit card with your online banking or your smartphone. You're able to, in the event that you misplace your debit card, you can turn off your debit card so that nobody can use it. You can report it lost, stolen, damaged, and you can get a replacement. But if in the event that you actually find your card, then you can go ahead and turn the card back on just by going into your app or your online banking on the website. So again, highly encourage you to take advantage of the features that we offer to all of our members. Just more resources to protect yourself that can be very helpful. But the most important thing here that I think that we all need to we always need to be very vigilant. Steer clear of any suspicious websites and links. If you ever see something that comes to your email, or if you're just browsing the web and then and then you just see something that just doesn't look right, we always encourage you to steer clear. Do not click on links that you're not familiar with. It's oftentimes it's just the criminals setting traps for you, and then they want you to fall for them. Don't give up your personal information into a caller or through email. That's something that we highly encourage. Unless you're using a secure email, then feel free to do that. But if you're just gonna share information on an email that is just a normal email, we highly encourage you to avoid doing that. You definitely want to avoid, sharing any personal information on through email or a phone call. So that's something that we want to make sure that you are very mindful. And then utilize the resources, right? Such as you can, if you're getting calls or text messages that just are they're not legitimate, go ahead and block them. You can always use that feature, block text messages and calls from numbers that that you're just not familiar with, and then you already know that they don't mean well. So make sure that you do that, and also know how scammers are telling you to pay, and most important is to resist the pressure to act immediately. These are some of the things that also we want you to be very mindful. I know that now that we're getting close to the tax day, which is April 18. I know recently that there's been a scam going around that it's people calling you, they're telling you they're from the IRS, and they want you to make a payment over the phone. If not, then the IRS is going to send the police department or the sheriff's office to arrest you within 24 hours unless you make a payment over the phone. I guarantee you that the IRS will not send the police department to arrest you because you owe taxes. That is something that it will not happen. But again, there's people, what they do is they like to take advantage of weak moments, and they like to, they definitely put a lot of pressure on you, and they want you to act immediately, and it's insane as to the different approaches that they're now taking. I know another popular phone scam that's going around that actually I received one recently is through my electric bill company. I received a phone call letting me know that it was from my from the electric company, and that we hadn't paid the bill, and if we didn't make a payment right away, that they were going to cut my electricity at the house. And believe it or not, I actually for a little while there, I was actually concerned. I actually thought that we had missed the payment, and then I was like, oh man, I don't want my electricity to get cut. But at home, my wife is the one that keeps track of all of the utility bills, and then I send her a quick text. Luckily, she was able to get back to me immediately, and she tells me that we are on automatic payments, and then the payments have been going through, and then everything is in good standings. But long story short, those were criminal. They were just trying to find a way to make an easy buck just by calling them, and then you will see that oftentimes the caller IDs that shows up in your phone will have something similar to a company or to a department, federal department. So you always have to be very, very careful. As I said before, these criminals, they're getting, they're getting really smart, and they're making everything look very official. So it could be, if you're not careful, again, it could be easily, fall victim of identity theft or fraud, just from a simple call from them pretending to be from a company that you normally do business with. So again, always be very be vigilant, always be on alert, and do not always resist the pressure to act immediately. Take your time. And again, the one tip that I always like to use, because I know the IRS scam has been very popular recently, is that just that the IRS will never send the police department to arrest you. With that, want to move on to the last topic here for us, which is what happens now if you actually somehow the criminal was able to get through through all the everything that they did, everything they attempted. Somehow they were successful. So now, what happens if you are now a victim of identity theft or fraud? What to do and how will you know? Obviously, it will be easy for you to know once you start seeing unexplained charges on your bank account, on your credit card bill, or all of a sudden you're no longer receiving your bills, or you're getting cars that you didn't apply for, or if if we're talking about when you request your credit report and then you see that there's something there that is not yours, but in the event that you didn't look at it and then you still went to a financial institution and then you applied for a loan, and then all of a sudden you're getting denied for credit, or if you get approved, you're getting an interest rate that is really high. So that will definitely be something that will give it away. Or if, again, when you look at your credit report, you start seeing that there are certain things in there that doesn't make any sense, that they're not something that you've done, or it can even get to the extreme where you actually are now getting collection calls. Those collections calls will come from very aggressive companies, and that you can probably think that they're actually scams, but actually, it might not be a scam. It might actually be a legitimate collection call because of something that has been done under your name. So here are the steps that you must take in order to resolve any fraud or any identity theft, once you have fallen victim of it. So the first thing is that we highly recommend is that you contact the government authorities. There's a website that was created. It is identitytheft.gov. This is the website that we will highly recommend that you go to. In here, you'll be able to get a lot of resources and tools to get your process started to getting your life back. And one of them is actually a link through the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and this is actually a report that you had to file that will be done with the Federal Trade Commission. That we highly recommend that you go into it and you file this report there, because in order to get your life back, this report will become very handy, and you will see as we go into the next action steps that you must take in order to get everything squared away. This first action that you do here will be very important. That's going to carry you throughout the next steps in order to restore everything back and get yourself clear. So once you have filed your report, obviously we highly encourage you to contact the creditors or the financial institutions where your information has been utilized, and you need to let them know of the situation. Oftentimes they will ask you for a copy of that report that we just discussed. So it is important that you file that report first before you go to your creditors or financial institutions, because it will be a requirement in order for them to initiate the process to get everything squared away. So it is important, again, that you have the report, and then once you have it, that you reach out to the creditors and the financial institutions where your information has been used. The next step to take is to contact the credit bureaus, notify them. Once you contact one, and you let them know that you are a victim of identity theft or fraud, then what's going to happen? They are going to go ahead and place an alert on your credit file that will stay there for 12 months until you resolve everything in your end. Also, we highly encourage you that you can go ahead and take advantage of one of the services that they provide. And that is to freeze your credit. You're able to actually freeze your credit. Your credit doesn't have to remain open. You can actually freeze it for as long as you want, and you can unfreeze it. And if you unfreeze it, it only takes a matter of seconds. And then once you freeze it or unfreeze it, you can start applying for loans and things of that nature. But definitely notifying the credit bureaus and then taking it a step further, which is freezing your credit, is something that we will highly recommend. Now, once you have the report, you can also file the report with the credit bureaus. And what happens once you do that, it will actually, the credit bureaus will be placing a permanent alert that is going to stay on your credit for 7 years. So anytime you apply for credit and in a financial institution or creditors is running an application, what's going to happen is they're going to receive a warning to contact you directly on the phone number that you provide, in order for any financial institutions to do any, move forward with any applications. So again, this is just an additional layer of security that we encourage you to put in place once you have become a victim of identity theft. The next step to take is, obviously, we highly encourage you to contact the local authorities. In most cases, if there's been fraud that's been done at financial institutions, most of the financial institutions will provide you with an affidavit, and with that affidavit, it is also required that you file a police report. So we recommend that you contact your local police department, whether it's in the city or county that you live, and you go ahead and file a police report with them. They will ask you for the affidavit that you received from the financial institution or the creditor, and also a copy of the report that you filed with the Federal Trade Commission, with the FTC. So it's highly recommended that you keep that report and utilize it in order to complete all the steps to get everything squared away. Also, another reason why you should contact the local authorities, and that is if in the event that you suspect as to who the person might be, the one that is that has stolen your identity. If you have somebody if you suspect of anyone, I'm sorry, then we highly encourage you to also contact the local authorities and file a police report with them. So again, it's highly recommended to do that. Now, with that, it is very important that once you have taken all of the steps, is that you keep a good record of everything that you've done. And the most important thing here is that you must follow up. Follow up until everything has been resolved. That is something that we highly encourage you to do. Again, as I stated early, it's something that it's gonna take time. It won't be get repaired immediately. In my personal case, I can tell you that whenever I was a victim of this, it took me close to a year to get everything resolved on my part. So it took me some time, and so just know that it's something that it's definitely, you don't want to be in that situation, but if you are, it's going to take some time, but it is important that you do keep good records and that you're always following up, just to make sure that everything is squared away. With that being said, this will bring me to the end of my presentation. Now, at this time, I would like to go ahead and introduce my colleague, who is our Vice President of Risk Management for the credit union, Sue. Go ahead and take it away from me.
Thank you, Milton, and good evening. I will like to go over some items with you very quickly through Know Your Rights, be an educated consumer, and note another scam as well. And in addition, I will go over what we are doing here at the credit union to protect your information and your privacy as well. So there are 5 laws that protect consumer relating identity theft, and it is important to be familiar with these laws. The first one is the Fair and Accurate Credit Transaction Act, known as FACT Act, and that gives every consumer, as Milton alluded to, the right to obtain a free copy of their credit reports from each of the three bureaus on each year. And Milton provided the link there, and as he mentioned, is essential for all of you to go over on an annual basis, and it's like an inventory when you go over it and making sure the information is accurate and on each of the credit reports. The next one is the Identity Theft and Assumption Deterrence Act, and make identity theft a federal crime. And with in conjunction with the Identity Theft Penalty Enhancement Act, provides the graded penalty for identity theft. And those are very important for you, because when, as Milton alluded to, when you are going over the process, if you are a victim of identity theft and you are filing your police report, that means that your case will go and see at the federal level. And that allows law enforcement to go and move the case to that, and also will allow you to have that greater penalties for that prosecution. Fair Credit Building Act give consumer many rights when dealing with building errors and prohibits creditors from taking actions that adversely affect the consumer credit standing until an investigation is completed. And that's essential, because if you are in that process, you are identifying transactions that are not fraudulent and is based on that identity theft, then creditors cannot go ahead and work on the credit standing until that investigation is completed, and then you go over that process. They cannot do anything and prohibit them to go over that and take action on it. The next one is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and that governs and also is designated to promote the accuracy and fairness, and the most important is the privacy of information found in your consumer reports. That information in a consumer report cannot be provided to anyone who does not have a purpose specified in the act. That is very connected with the weight of federal crime, is that that information is private and cannot be utilized whether or not is that purpose specified in that act. Other scams, you can find this current scam, as Milton alluded to today, via the Federal Trade Commission website. The Federal Trade Commission put together constantly what is current scam every time during the year, and also provide by the end of the year, published next year. Right now we're reviewing 2022, a trending on the fraud, and also some metrics related to losses as well, based on the reports, fraud reports during the year. You can access and view those trends and scam via www.consumer.ftc.gov/future/scam-and-alert. And I will go over some of the data that they published for this year from last year. And it's like a snapshot that they provided. And according to the Federal Trade Commission, the top fraud for last year were 5. And the first one was imposter. The second one was online shopping. The third one was prizes and lotteries. Fourth was investment, and the fifth was business and job opportunities. And we have last year 2.4 million fraud reports and a total of 8.8 billion reported losses. That, and comparing to 2021, that was 2.9 million in fraud reports, but in 2021 was 6.1 billion. So it went a huge increase in that reported losses. Losses to investment scams more than double, From 2021, it was 1.8 billion. Last year was $3.8 billion in losses. Losses to business in Poster, 2021 was 453 million. Last year was $660 million in losses. And last but not least, scammer contacting people on social media and fun led to big losses. We have 1.2 billion in social media, highest overall reported losses in that area, and include phone calls per person was $1,400 that reported losses for phone calls. Next slide, please. And we are dedicated to ensure that our institution is secure, and we're consistently taking steps to protect our members and to secure the financial system. We diligently monitor an account and verify suspicious transaction, and we adhere to know your customer process to verify our members' identity. And as Milton alluded to, we facilitate a platform online banking, additional tools for you to go over and monitor your accounts and protect those. And also when you contact us, we're taking extra precaution to confirm member identity. And last but not least, on my last slide is, if you can go to my last slide. I have a delay on my end, sorry. We will never ask you for your personal information, and Milton alluded to before, via text or email. And personal information includes your credit card number, member's number, social security, date of birth, etc. If you receive a text or email from the USSFCU requesting any personal information, do not reply. Do not click on that link, as Milton alluded to before in several examples, and call us immediately at 800-374-2758. You can also report a fraudulent activity immediately via secure message by my.ussfcu.org. And also you can log into your online banking via my.ussfcu.org and to verify the account transaction. And always check our website. We constantly go over and publish fraud notification. You can access our website at ussfcu.org. And with that, Milton, get it back to you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you for providing a lot of all that great information. Truly appreciate it. It is, as we said early, this is definitely a very hot topic, and I noticed that there's a lot of great questions already in the Q&A. But before we go into the Q&A, we want to just share a couple of information here for you guys. This webinar actually has been open to not just existing members, but also for new potential members. And just we wanted to mention that the credit union right now has a great promotion that we're running, which is you can get up to $500 for all new members. You just have to follow, a couple of quick and easy steps, and then you'll be eligible to get up to $500 just for becoming a member here with the credit union. Also, we do have the program that it's the refer a family member, and you can also get a reward for that as well too. So remember, anyone that immediate family, you can refer them. And also anyone that lives in your household as well that is not your family, you can also get them referred as well too. But with that being said, Eddie, do you want to go through the questions there that we have on the chat?
Of course. Thank you, Milton. Great presentation. I definitely learned a lot of new things today. Like you were saying, it's a hot topic. And these scammers are basically, it's their full time to try to, get people's information and things like that. So they're trying to attack us from all type of angles. But don't you worry, everybody. Here at the credit union, like Sue was emphasizing, your security is priority to us. So if you ever have doubts or any questions regarding any type of communication that you get, whether it's an email, whether it's a phone call, or whether if it's a text message, just make sure that you call that number that she provided. We also put it on the chat. And just to confirm, that number is 800-374-2758. And then just talk to us directly and tell us if you have any doubts, and we'll confirm with you if the piece of information that we send out is actually legitimate or not. With that being said, well, let's go to the Q&A. And the first question, it could be for either you, Milton, or Sue. You decide whichever one to answer the questions. This comes from, actually, the three questions that we have right now is from Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, for your participation. We are thankful that you were able to participate and actually, ask some very, very important questions. And the first two questions have to do with debit cards. And the first one is, are debit cards more susceptible to being exploited? What do you think? I'm gonna give that one to Milton so we can alternate. Do you think debit cards are more exposed to fraud? What do you think?
Thanks, Eddie, and thanks, Sarah, for that question. I will honestly say that based on my experience, all of the debit cards, they come from they're issued by either one of the big credit companies, which is either a Visa or a MasterCard. So it doesn't really make a difference, to be honest. Unless Sue has any other information that states that. But in my experience, a debit card or a credit card can easily be exploited when it comes to the criminals trying to get a hold of them. And then once they do, it definitely, it's a little bit of a headache trying to get that fixed. Sue, I'm not sure if you want to add something more to that.
Sure. What we see sometimes is make sure you check the terminal. If you are going to a gas station or going into a retail, make sure that terminal look legitimate. You can kind of try it. What we've seen and is on the news sometimes is that fraudster put a double device on the terminal. Also, you can see if the gas station, the security seal is being removed or altered. You want to have extra precaution and maybe perhaps on those situations go and pay, not at the pump, maybe go inside and pay. So always look for that terminal and making sure that look secured, and follow those items and inspect, making sure that you feel comfortable with. Perfect. And that includes debit and credit cards, as Milton alluded to.
Correct. And that's the reason why here at the credit union, we're constantly seeing what new features we can add to our debit cards or credit cards, for it to be more secure, like, the chip that would include, that's a security feature that, can give you that peace of mind that you won't be compromised. And like Sue was saying, most of the time, the debit card is not really the issue, is that device that you will be scanning it to, or swiping it, or whatever it is, which actually brings us to our second question. That's a great segue. The second question is it better to tap your credit card instead of inserting it into a machine so it can be scanned, or does it matter? From what Sue was saying, I think it doesn't really matter if you want to scan it, if you want to tap it, if you want to, swipe it, or whatever it is, as long as you're looking at the device that you're using. Because we can see that sometimes the scanners in the gas stations or the grocery store might be altered, or it might be damaged or anything like that. So if it looks a little bit suspicious to you, for example, at the gas station, like Sue was saying, it's better to go with the cashier directly and tell them that you want to use your debit card. Guys, you want to add anything to that?
I think, Milton, one of the areas that you alluded to in the beginning was that monitoring on the online banking for cards, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's you definitely want to always keep track of what's happening with your transactions, and obviously you use the utilize the tool that we have, which is, with the alerts. Because again, that will also, give you a little bit more of peace of mind as well too. But as both of you have been saying, it's this criminals nowadays. I mean, I know they're getting more and more creative. It's just they're always fighting for ways of. So now they're even cracking into the card readers, which is, oftentimes you will think it would only happen to me if I insert the chip or if I swipe the card that they will be able to read my card. No, it's nowadays, we have been seeing that it doesn't necessarily means that, you're protected by just doing the touch list. That would also could also get intercepted. So Sue, you said it. I mean, I don't think you could have said it any better. Highly recommend if you go into a gas station and something doesn't look right at the terminal outside, just go inside and proceed with the transaction with the cashier.
And I think what I would recommend with that is, like, if let's say you want to do, like, you're at the grocery store and you want to make a purchase, or gas station, or even online, or whatever it is. If your gut feeling is telling you that something is wrong, do your due diligence, and make sure that whatever you're doing is legitimate. And I think, like, I know we want to, do things automated. I know we like that online or that, touchless, like Milton was saying. But if your gut feeling is telling you that something is wrong, it's better to have that, face-to-face interaction and just, scan the car at the cashier or with whoever you're dealing with. So great information, guys. And then this question is specifically for Milton. They say your name, Milton, so you're being famous out here, brother. Sarah said, Milton, you said you had an issue at one point, and I believe it's when you were telling your story, about the fraud that you were going through. Did you go to identitytheft.gov? Did it help? And I know that you did something on your credit, so I don't know if you want to, elaborate on that.
Absolutely. And again, Sarah, thank you so much for the question as well too. It's very important. And I must say that yes, I did. But I'll give you all a little more background. I mean, it just sounds, the way how it happened, it came from the least expected place, in my opinion, because as I stated early, I was applying to work for the Department of Homeland Security. And they obviously, they fell victims of a data breach. And my information, I happened to be one of the lucky ones that my information was included in that particular case. And at that point, I mean, quite frankly, I didn't think, nothing will happen to me. So I did, I was on alert for about a year or so, but nothing really happened. I was keeping track of my credit, but long story short, I didn't start actually seeing funky stuff on my credit until after a little over 2 years since, I had been notified of the situation. And yes, I immediately, actually went to this website, which is the website that the federal government created, and I did utilize that to file my report with the FTC, and it was very helpful. Having that report handy made my life much easier. It just gives you even more, validity that it's actually, that you are actually the victim of what's happening. Because oftentimes, again, not that people will give you the benefit of the doubt, but it's just, the stronger you build your case to getting your life back, the easier it will be, during the process. So it was very, 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 very helpful when I did that. So I highly recommend it, without a doubt.
Perfect. Thank you, Milton, for elaborating with that. Thank you for sharing your experience, because I know that's something personal. That's something probably that you don't even want to think about it anymore, because like you were saying, it was a lengthy process. So it's not something that happens from one day to another. So thank you for, sharing that with us. And then there's an anonymous question, and this will be the last question, because, we want to be respectful of time. There are a lot of an anonymous member or non-member send it to me, and they don't, they don't want me to disclose the name. But the question is, there are many commercials and, ads on the internet and on TV and, everywhere that, there's these applications for you to save your passwords, like in case, we have so many passwords for a lot of things. So how secure are those applications for people to save their passwords? Is it okay to save passwords electronically, or you don't recommend that? What would you say, guys?
This will be, I think I'll let Sue answer this one. Sue, if you don't mind.
It's all depend. It's a discretion of the individual. One of the areas that we encourage members is to do, as Eddie alluded to, their own due diligence, making sure if you are selecting a system or selecting an app, making sure you want to go over the platform, the security of the platform, making sure you feel comfortable if you would like to select that. And that applies for everything, right? Because Milton discussed in the beginning that it's also have your clean desk and making sure you have all your password secure, but that also applied where to store that information. Is that secured? You feel comfortable with? And that is the due diligence process that we refer to.
Perfect. Thank you. And I think with those platforms that they're asking about, the main thing will be keep changing your password often. Don't make sure that you don't have the same password for every single thing that you have, and also just keep them as complex as possible. Capital letters, numbers, characters, whatever it is, and keep changing them constantly. So guys, that's all the questions I have for you. Any last words?
Awesome. Well, so glad that everybody came, and I'll send out the slides and a recap. And we've got several webinars lined up for April, so I'll share registration links for those. If you're interested in any of the subjects, feel free to sign up. We really appreciate you guys interacting and engaging with us. So, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all so much again. And like Carrie mentioned, we look forward to having you back in another webinar here with us. Hope you all have a wonderful evening, and thank you all so much. We'll see you next time.
Take care.